Hi there, this is Michelle Kinder, one of your hosts with Oxygen for Educators. And it wasn't our intention for this to be our first episode, but it is the day after the 2024 election here in the United States. And we thought it might be useful to just hop on and offer some thoughts. Regardless of your political beliefs, as educators, very often you're tasked with creating and holding a container for the entire community, the school community, parent community, faculty, to metabolize and navigate change, big emotions, differences of opinion. And that is certainly true in this case. So wanted to offer, let's say 5 things, 5 tried and true ideas that might offer some grounding for folks, whether you're waking up this morning feeling elated or feeling despair. The first I want to share with you, many of you have heard this, but just to kind of put it at the top of your mind, a fable, I think I could call it a fable, that I first heard from Alan Watts and later from Susan Kaiser Greenland. And it's called Maybe. And it's about a Chinese farmer whose horse ran away. And that evening, all of his neighbors came around to commiserate. And they said, "Oh, we're so sorry to hear that your horse has run away. This is terrible. What are you going to do?" And the farmer said, maybe it's terrible. The next day, the horse came back, bringing 7 wild horses with it. And in the evening, everybody came by and they said, "Oh my goodness, you're so lucky. What a great turn of events. Now you have 8 horses. How fortunate." And the farmer again said, "Maybe." And the following day, his son tried to break one of the horses. And while riding it, he was thrown and he broke his leg. And the neighbors said, "Oh my goodness, that's terrible. I'm so sorry that happened. That's really awful." And the farmer, you won't be surprised, responded, "Maybe." So the next day, the conscription officers came around to conscript people into the army, and they rejected his son because he had a broken leg. And the neighbors came around and said, "Isn't that great? How amazing." And again, the farmer said, "Maybe." This fable is so grounding to me. When I feel elated about something, it brings me to baseline. When I feel despair, it brings me to baseline. Just a reminder that we don't know what is going to happen next, and we don't know if the things that feel despairing are going to actually lead to despair, or if the things that feel like the best news are actually going to play out that way. It just kind of brings us into that space of equanimity. And that brings me to my second idea that I want to share. This is something I heard recently from one of my favorite teachers, Martha Beck. She talks about that, she brings in a quote, that hope is as hollow as fear. Whether you go up the ladder or down, your position is shaky. Meaning if I'm, moving up the ladder, I'm still on a ladder, even if I'm in a hopeful place. If I'm in a fearful place, I'm still on that shaky ladder. So what she offers and what this quote offers is that the alternative is to not be caught in that dichotomy of hope and fear, but instead stand with your 2 feet on the ground so that you always keep your balance. She talks about how hope and fear are fundamentally future directed. And so if you can get off of that shaky ladder and plant your feet on the ground, keeping yourself in that present moment and dealing with whatever's in front of you right then, politically, relationally, instead of what you're projecting might happen, then you have a shot. The third thing I want to share, third of 5, is something pretty personal. Many years ago, my younger brother by 18 months died suddenly. And as is true whenever you're dealing with grief, many people supported us and said all the things, and most of the things they said either went in one ear, out the other. It felt like sandpaper, felt like a hug, like you know the experience I'm talking about. But one person who actually is faceless to me, I do not remember who did this, just quietly said to me, "Now is a time for strength. Do the things that make you strong." And that one simple sentence stuck to me like glue, and it has guided me all of these years. And I offer it to you today, that if you are in that half of our country that is feeling despair, that you figure out what the things are that make you strong, and you do them whether you feel like it or not. So that might include things that kind of expel energy, like exercise, walking, running. It might be things that calm an agitated nervous system, like meditation, prayer, quiet conversation with a friend. Whatever it is, figure out what your things are and do not put them off for another second. Do them whether you feel like it or not, and do them again the next day. That's number 3. Number 4 is to trust and care for your own nervous system. Certainly tied to this notion of doing the things that make you strong. That's going to naturally do things for you that support your nervous system. But that might mean turning off the news. That might mean spending extra time with a friend in the next few days. There's a lot of things that might mean, but don't minimize what your nervous system is telling you need as you navigate these changing waters. The trust part of this sentence, trust and care for your nervous system, the trust part is to stay in the moment enough that you're making decisions about how things are based on your interactions in your community and not based on narratives that might be getting pushed or overlaid on all of us. Really drop into your own experiences and create a space in your head and heart that looks for all the ways we're having the same experience, even though there's a dominant narrative that we're all having radically different experiences. That's number 4. Number 5 is a quote from Nikita Valerio. She says, "Shouting self-care at those who really need community care is how we fail each other." And I just can't stress this one enough. There's only so far that self-care is going to take us in these times and in all times. We have to build in that piece of community care. Our nervous systems rely on that co-regulation as a lifelong imperative. So those are the 5 things. I hope they serve you. Hope they offer you some oxygen. And hope you'll subscribe and share your thoughts and stay in conversation with us. Take care.